Hey, third grade. It's Mrs. Wheaton, in case you couldn't tell. Um, so, congratulations on your tests yesterday. I haven't seen them, obviously, but I know you did really great. So, anyway, we are going to do one last book lesson because your last. It's not your last week. It feels like your last week to me because I feel like I don't know. Next week feels weird because of Memorial Day, even though I don't teach on Mondays. Anyway, but I digress. So we're just going to do one last lesson, and you will just have a Flipgrid response. You won't have to do any questions within the book. And we're going to talk a little bit about how ecosystems change. Because clearly, so I think I jumped ahead of myself. You technically have one more chapter left in your books, but we're not getting to it. And that's okay, right? Because you guys have still been doing learning. You guys have been crushing it at, doing the home schooling stuff. And, I'm really proud of you guys and your parents for sticking through it and, working with me and Mrs. Dale on all of this stuff. It's been hard on everybody, and we're just ready. I think we're all ready to be done. Right? And so just have a normal summer and hopefully a normal school year next year. So anyway, we're on page 216. We're going to do lesson 3. We're going to talk about ecosystems changing because at this point in our lives, everything is changing, it seems like. And one cool thing, one positive change that I've noticed, so as you guys may know, right now, national parks in California are closed. And so I follow Yosemite on Facebook and Instagram. And one thing that the people who, like the rangers who live there and take care of the parks they've been posting a lot is, as you know, people are driving less. And so the sky is clear most of the time. And the animals are like loving it. They're like, no people, what up? We'll go wherever. And so there's bears and deer all over the place now, and they're just hanging out, and they're not, bothered because it's just like, a handful of people, and they're not like, if you've ever been to Yosemite, you know that it is a very popular place to go. People come from all over the world to see Yosemite. I remember going there camping as a kid every summer, and we would get on like little shuttle to go around the park to get to different hikes and stuff like that. And no joke, at least like a third of the people on that shuttle bus were speaking a different language. So it is a destination for world travelers. But anyway, now that it's empty, like the animals are kind of taking back their territory, and it's it's a good thing, kind of, I think, in some ways, right? It's hard for us because we want to be able to be out there and seeing the world and all that it has to offer, and right now we're not supposed to. So, anyway, we're talking about changes. Scary forest life. Up at the top it does say, tell another way a forest ecosystem could change, right? Fire, clearly. I just kind of talked about that, right? Yosemite's closed, right? So now they're no longer allowing people in there. So the animals have their little mini spots, right? They could have housing that they've chosen that's different. Their food might be a little bit different because they're not eating garbage that people are leaving all over the place, which is good. All right. Ecosystems are always changing. Did I tell you it's on page 216, 217? Maybe not. 216, 217. Okay. These changes can be rapid and widespread, such as when a fire burns through a forest. But even smaller changes have many effects. Think about what happens when a 200-year-old tree falls in a storm. Throughout its life, the tree shaded the forest floor. Now the forest floor will receive much more sunlight. Seedlings that require a lot of sunlight will have a chance to grow. Other plants that grow best in the shade might not survive. The change may affect animals too. Birds that nested in the tree may need to find a new home. But the fallen tree may provide a habitat for salamanders and other animals. I think about the tree that's in my front yard. It provides a lot of shade. And then I've got some plants in my front yard that require not like shade all the time, but shade at least from the afternoon sun because it's hot. And I wonder about when we have to take it out because it's like, it's probably, someone planted it there and was not thinking like how big my yard, I mean, there's a massive tree and it has roots that are all exposed up in the ground and it's just bad. Okay, I don't know why I keep talking about things that you don't care about. Okay, living things cause change. All living things need resources like water and food. Living things get what they need from their environments. As they do this, they cause changes to their environments. For example, people cut down trees to build homes, or because they don't like them, or the city tells them that they need to cut them down. Like what happened to me. It was a different tree even. Ugh. They're going to tell me to cut down that tree that I'm looking at. It's going to be bad. It's so huge. Okay. Anyway. They clear land in order to grow food in open fields. But people are not the only living things that cause change. Look at the groundhogs in the picture. Groundhogs live in underground tunnels or burrows. As they dig their burrows, they change the environment. These changes can be harmful. Groundhogs can damage crops and lawns and the roots of trees. But some living things can benefit from the changes that groundhogs cause. Foxes, rabbits, and other animals often live in the burrows made by groundhogs. Groundhogs also improve soil by mixing it as they dig. This benefits the plants that will grow in the soil. And how stinking cute are those guys? Ugh. I love them. So cute. Do the math. You don't have to. I miss doing do the math with you guys and torturing you and making Kaylin miserable. Natural events cause change. Natural events can also change ecosystems. Sorry, I was just thinking about something and I forgot what I was thinking about. I'm going to keep reading. Fires can burn forests, hurricanes can wash away beaches and knock down trees. They can also cause floods. Floods change ecosystems too. They kill plants and can destroy animal habitats. Droughts can also cause change ecosystems. I think that's a typo. Droughts can also cause change. Should be in ecosystems, right? Very exciting, we found a typo. There's like a spot on my screen that makes it look like a weird pimple. During a drought, very little rain falls. Plants die from lack of water. If animals cannot find enough water, they may die or have to move to other places. Not all living things are harmed by changes in ecosystems. A forest fire may destroy many trees and animals' homes, but the fire also clears dead plants and wood from the forest floor. Then trees that were not harmed by the fire have more space to grow. Plants that need more sunlight can also grow. Ash from the fire makes soil healthy. Ash contains minerals that plants need. Also, an interesting thing that you can add to your compost. Or just straight into your plants. I saw a YouTube video about it the other day because now that I'm in quarantine, I think like I'm a gardener. I really do try, and so far it's something that I've been mildly successful at, so I'm going with it, guys. Seasonal changes. In some ecosystems, the cycle of seasons bring major changes. For example, summers may be warm, but winters may be very cold and snowy. Some plants die in winter. Food may be hard to find for some animals. Many plants and animals have adaptations that help them survive these changes. An adaptation is a trait that helps a living thing survive in its environment. For example, some trees shed their leaves before winter. This reduces the amount of water they need to take in during the summer. Some animals, such as bats and ground squirrels, hibernate or sleep through the winter. Other animals migrate, right? They leave for a while. All kinds of things. What they do. Ooh, volcanoes. Can you see that? Living things return. On May 18, 1980, the volcano Mount St. Helens erupted in the state of Washington. This eruption was huge. The blast changed the ecosystem. It knocked over trees, it burned whole forests, and killed many animals. Rivers of mud covered large areas. The volcano released a cloud of ash into the air. Winds carried the ash around the world. There are few signs of life after the eruption. Over time, however, wind carried the seeds of grasses, flowers, and trees to the mountain, and new plants began to grow. Soon spiders and beetles arrived. Birds returned to live in the standing dead trees. Small and large animals also returned. Each new change allowed more kinds of plants and animals to live there again. The ecosystem is not the same as it was before the eruption, but it is recovering. What? That's it? What? Look at the cute little tree. All right, so that is it. So I want you to, number 10 is going to be your Flipgrid response for today. So it says, describe 2 ways a forest fire can be helpful to plants. So forest fire, burning down the entire forest. And maybe it doesn't burn down the entire thing. But 2 ways that it can be helpful for plants. We read about at least 2. So just steal them from the book. And hopefully next week I could get a Zoom meeting set up with you guys to say goodbye. Let me know also if you think that's a great idea or a terrible idea, because I miss you guys, and I at least, kind of want to somehow interact with you in real time. I know Mrs. Dale does it. I'm jealous. At one time that I was like halfway in your meeting and her sound was not working, and I was just making faces in the background. That was a lot of fun. So anyway, we will see you next week somehow. And yeah, happy sciencing. Bye.